Cooking can be a fun and rewarding experience, but sometimes, people make hilarious mistakes that turn their kitchen adventures into disasters. From burning water to confusing ingredients, these stories prove that not everyone is a master chef. Here are 10 of the dumbest cooking mistakes people have made. Hopefully, you can learn from their misfortune. 1. Trying to boil water and burning it. Yes, it's possible to burn water. One person put a pot of water on the stove and completely forgot about it. By the time they remembered, the water had evaporated, and the pot was scorched black. Not only did they ruin their meal, but they also had to buy a new pot. 2. Mistaking sugar for salt, or vice versa. Imagine taking a big bite of your freshly baked cookies, only to find they taste incredibly salty. This happens more often than you'd think. One baker proudly made a beautiful cake for a party, but instead of sugar, they accidentally used salt. The cake looked amazing, but tasted awful. 3. Setting the microwave on fire. Some people don't realize that metal and microwaves don't mix. One person tried to reheat their leftover takeout, without removing the aluminum foil. Within seconds, sparks flew, and the microwave caught fire. Lesson learned. Always check what's safe to microwave. 4. Cooking pasta without water. A college student wanted to make spaghetti but didn't realize they needed to boil water first. They put dry pasta straight into a hot pan and waited until the smell of burning noodles filled the kitchen. Their dinner was ruined, and their roommates had a good laugh. 5. Baking a cake without flour. A beginner baker decided to make a cake but forgot a key ingredient: flour. They mixed eggs, sugar, butter, and milk, poured it into a pan, and put it in the oven. Instead of a fluffy cake, they ended up with a liquid mess that refused to bake. Safe to say, they now double-check their recipes. 6. Forgetting to turn on the oven. Someone spent hours preparing a fancy roast, seasoning it perfectly, and placing it in the oven. After waiting for an hour, they opened the oven door, expecting a golden brown masterpiece, but the meat was still raw. They had forgotten to turn the oven on. Dinner was very late that night. 7. Exploding eggs in the microwave. Boiling eggs in the microwave sounds like a shortcut, but one person learned the hard way why that's a bad idea. Instead of cooking properly, the eggs exploded, covering the microwave, and the person, in hot egg bits. Cleaning up the mess was definitely not fun. 8. Using dish soap instead of cooking oil. One person wanted to fry an egg but grabbed the wrong bottle. Instead of oil, they poured dish soap into the pan. As soon as the egg hit the pan, bubbles started forming, and the smell was terrible. It took a lot of scrubbing to clean the pan, and they had to settle for cereal instead. 9. Mistaking wax paper for parchment paper. Baking requires precision, including using the right materials. One person lined their baking tray with wax paper, thinking it was parchment paper. When they took their cookies out of the oven, they were stuck to a melted, waxy mess. The cookies had to go in the trash, and the oven needed serious cleaning. 10. Forgetting to put the blender lid on. A home cook wanted to make a smoothie but forgot to secure the blender lid. The moment they pressed the button, fruit, yogurt, and juice flew everywhere, covering the walls, ceiling, and themselves. It took longer to clean up than to make the smoothie. Cooking disasters happen to everyone, but some mistakes are so silly they become unforgettable stories. Whether it's burning water, mixing up ingredients, or turning the kitchen into a mess, these cooking fails remind us to double-check what we're doing. Hopefully, you've had a good laugh, and maybe learned what not to do in the kitchen.